when you create situations like this, it's a lot of times where the fans will show you the love, and that's really what gets a lot of these guys paid. When you have box office superstars like Stephen Curry, the LeBron James, these guys' value is so high because of the fans. We talked about the situation with the Houston Rockets and how you felt they diminished your value and then turned around and offered you a minimum contract.
Right.
Can you explain more in depth why you felt like this situation happened and who exactly do you feel was responsible?
Um, that's a good question. So, like I was saying in the other video, I kind of said a lot of things, but I didn't really explain the ramifications behind um, the events that occurred. So like when you have a situation in which um, like I had in Houston, which this is the situation. The fans in Houston showed me nothing but love. They loved me. You had the people doing Von Hawks. They was doing the haircuts like mine. They were doing the vanilla wafer, the Dutch cookie. Marketing, these were all marketing and promotion that took a life of its own created by the fans. And when you have situations like that, it's very profitable. It's very lucrative. And that's why I love Houston so much, because of the fans. The fans showed me so much love. The fans really put that confidence in me to like, yo, I can do this. Like all the love that they showed me, it's the first time I ever felt love like that and felt like I belong. I couldn't go anywhere in Houston. Everybody's showing me love. That's why I love the city of Houston. That's why I'll never forget the city of Houston. That's why it's hard for me to go back to the city of Houston, because I'm going back as Von Wafer now, the 38-year-old man, as opposed to my memories of Houston being the young, up and coming NBA basketball player and all the love that I was getting shown. So it's hard for me mentally and psychologically to go back to that, because I don't want to go back into the past and feeling those feelings I felt when I was young and all of that. So to answer your question, who do I feel was responsible? So I gave you that first part to show you that when you create situations like this, it's a lot of times where the fans will show you the love, and that's really what gets a lot of these guys paid. When you have box office superstars like Stephen Curry, the LeBron James, these guys' value is so high because of the fans, because of the jerseys they're selling, because of the ticket sales, because of the people coming and wanting to see them. And these guys are behind the scenes looking at that analytical data. The owners are the ones who make the decisions, and management is in charge of the analytical data. I'm pretty sure they hire people, business people, to look at these type of numbers and look at this and see who's generating this revenue. It's just like any other business structure you'll have. Like McDonald's is going to look at the Big Mac or whatever burger is bringing in the most revenue, and that's what they're going to promote. So I had created value within the fan base, which in turn, when you look at other situations, that gets guys paid. So I felt like that value, they tried to undercut that value, because I feel like some people within the organization really didn't like me. Just gonna be honest, I don't think Daryl Morey really liked me. You see the situation going on with him and James Harden right now. I'm not really surprised, but I don't have no opinion about that. That's none of my business. But I really don't think Daryl Morey liked me, and I don't think some of the guys on the team liked me. So when you have this component, their politics become involved, and
the politics that became involved were the situations like I was explaining in the first video. All right, the fans love this guy, so we're gonna have to figure out a way to diminish his value. And I feel like that happened in the Lakers series when I was sent to the locker room. And I also feel like my value was being diminished because when I get in a rhythm and I get on a roll, I'd be taking out the game. So I couldn't put up the numbers in the analytics. You know, like Daryl Morey, he's big. He not anymore, not so much as anymore, but he used to be analytics. We're gonna look at the analytics. Well, if you look at my analytics for that year, I was told by another GM who's one of the best GMs in the game. I won't mention his name, but this guy is like a nerd. He's like an analytic, like genius. He said, Vaughn, your per 48 stats are on par with Manu Ginobili. And this is not the old Manu Ginobili. This is the young Manu Ginobili in 2009 or whatever year that was. So this was the sixth man of the year Manu Ginobili. So my analytics were on par with that. So I felt like they had to do a couple things to diminish the value. First, they sent me to the locker room to make me look like, you know, I was a cancer to the team. I was disruptive to the team. Then they had the situation where you had the guys on the team lying and saying that I said this about that player, I said this about that player, I said this about the coach, when I didn't do that. In the first video, I explained when I was sitting on the bus, and they didn't know I could hear them talking. So there was so many situations in how they diminished the value. And then at the end of that, in the summer, they offered me the minimum. And I just felt like that was disrespectful because of the numbers that I had put up. And my analytics suggested that I should have been paid way more than the minimum. And I was only asking for a 2-year, $2 million, $3 million deal. I wasn't trying to break the bank. And if you go back to the situation, there was media stories saying that I turned down $10 million, which weren't true. So there's a lot of ways that my value was diminished. And I believe some people in management and some of the guys on the team were responsible. You know, a lot of these guys, they have a hard time seeing the young up-and-comer, you know, kind of come in and take their spots. A lot of guys they're not going to help you take their spot. And sometimes when you have a situation like mine where a guy gets hurt and I come in and then I just, you know, do my thing, that's kind of difficult for a lot of guys on the team. And I feel like it was just a few things that were working against me. You know, I was young. I didn't understand the business part. Just like when they sent me to the locker room and I didn't do anything, they suggested, yo, why don't you go out and apologize, you know, and me just trying to do the right thing, I said, okay. But as I get older, that's like a admission of guilt when you come out and apologize. What are you apologizing for unless you did something wrong? But I didn't understand that at a young age, so it was very strategic in how they diminished my value. And I don't really feel like ownership had anything to do with it. I feel like ownership is just looking at the numbers. They're looking at the business structure. They're like, this guy is generating, well, the people that they have working for them to look at these numbers, this is Wafer, he's generating this. He's creating these opportunities. Fans are coming from this and they're doing this. They're buying this jersey. They want to see Vaughn. The analytics are being given to the ownership like that. Management is really the ones who take, I don't know, they're really the ones that try to convince the owner to give this person or that person the money. And I think I would have been compensated, but you know, management, I feel like they wanted to cut my legs from under me. You just had situations that just kept occurring, and it's like, and then if you think about what happened after I left, number 13, who came in with a mohawk, with the beard, you know, so I had provided a structured that could be lucrative. They just didn't want me to be the one to benefit from it. And now that I'm older, I see how the game is. I understand how powerful people like Daryl Morey are, and it's a part of the game. And hopefully I can help other youngsters out there, implement the correct business and go about it the right way. I felt like I did the best I could, but I didn't understand really, what was going on and how it was happening. So that's what it is.